I am not a person who is afraid to take stand on issues.
Abacha's intention after we have been in prison that 3 of us would not come out of prison or detention alive.
I'm not a born again to this level. If you touch me or touch any of my person, you will see the firework.
People don't know what is war until they experience it.
Bola Tinubu.
The way they are going now, I might not even be alive.
In the unforgiving world of Nigerian politics, there are strong men, godfathers, street generals, men who command regions with force, silence, charisma, and cash. The term feared politician in Nigeria is not necessarily about brutal force alone. It's about control, domination, survival, patronage, fear, and most importantly, those who keep their relevance in the long run. Because in this political jungle, power is earned through calculated boldness, sustained through networks of loyalty, and exercised in ways that often override democratic accountability. But what if I told you that the most feared man in Nigeria isn't the loudest or the one with a military past? What if the real power isn't held but built invisibly, piece by piece, over decades? Today, in this video, we'll be revealing a countdown of the most feared politician in Nigeria and how his influence decides who becomes the next president of Nigeria come 2027. First of all, let's break down some of the key players in Nigerian politics so we can weigh these men and arrive at most feared politician in the country. Few Nigerian politicians cause strong division or sharp disagreement between people, often pushing them to opposite extreme of opinion, belief, and behavior. But what if I told you that Nasir El-Rufai does this with ease? His governance style is a blend of technocratic brilliance, abrasive authoritarianism.
What upsets many people, and that's where the view persists, is that I don't give a damn about their views.
As Minister of Federal Capital Territory under Obasanjo, he demolished illegal structures without blinking. And as Governor of Kaduna State, he implemented controversial reforms that earned him both enemies and admirers. El-Rufai represents a brand of leadership that ignores political corrections, often to a fault. He has been accused of inciting division with his remarks on religion, ethnic matters, yet praised for confronting issues others avoid. Issues like education reform, civil service restructuring, and insecurity. His ideology is clear: to govern with results, not emotions. But critics argue that his legacy is tainted with high-handedness and sectarian undertones. What makes El-Rufai feared is not just his policy ruthlessness, but his strategic alignment with power blocks. He has often been close to the inner circles of national power, and when he speaks, Abuja listens, even after he left office. That is strength beyond them. Another street general of Nigerian politics is none other than Nyesom Wike. Wike is not subtle. His politics is loud, theatrical, and undeniably effective. As governor of Rivers State, he wielded state machinery with an iron fist, often turning the state into a battleground for political supremacy. His feud with the PDP leadership and his eventual alliance with the APC party demonstrated his audacity to bend the political climate to his own will. Wike's feared factor comes from his unfiltered tongues and his capacity for vengeance. He is not afraid of confrontation, and many within the Nigerian political class know that crossing Wike comes with consequences. Yet, his influence remains mostly regional. Why? This is because his base is in South-South, and beyond that, his power starts to fade. His appointment as FCT minister has reawakened his proximity to power, and once again, he was in corridors reserved for the strong. What about the ever-present godfather? Atiku is one of Nigeria's richest politicians. He has contested for presidency more than anyone else in the Fourth Republic. His money runs deep, his connection runs deeper. A man of incredible political stamina, Atiku has survived military transition, party betrayals, and public scandals. Yet for his resources, tenancy, and experience, Atiku is not feared. And why? Because Atiku plays politics like chess and not like war. He negotiates, he buys influence, he waits, but he doesn't dominate. He doesn't grip. And in Nigerian strongman hierarchy, influence without fear is incomplete power. And on the other side is P2B, who represents a new model of influence, one grounded in values, prudence, and civic engagement. His supporters, especially the youth, adores his message of fiscal discipline and anti-corruption. But while Obi inspires, he does not intimidate. Obi is the man you want for reforms, but he may be left behind when it comes for revolutions. He mobilizes hope, but not fear, And in a country like Nigeria, where fear often drives political obedience, Obi's strength lies in his moral clarity and not coercive capability. Once upon a time, men like Ibrahim Babangida, IBB, and Olusegun Obasanjo didn't just wield power, they were the power. IBB was a smiling general who annulled election with impunity and still held court with governors long after retirement. Obasanjo was a general turned Democrat who ruled both in uniform and in agbada, fearless, reshaping Nigerian post-military politics with enduring clout. But if you must note, their era has faded. They are no longer feared. We know they are often consulted, but they are no longer obeyed. Now, asking the real question, who is the most feared politician, if not any of these men? This brings us to the one and only name, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Talking about the rise of Ahmed Tinubu, before the title, President, ever-rich Bola Ahmed Tinubu had already done something far more impressive. He embedded himself into the very spine of Nigerian politics, even with no military strength. All he had, which most politicians lacked, was patience and structure. Born in 1952, Tinubu's early life was marked with uncertainty, exile, ambition, and mystery. His academic records remain a subject of controversy, and the way he got his wealth has also been another reason the country criticized him for. But he was always moving, whether in business or politics. Tinubu understood very early that survival in Nigeria was not about merit, it was about seizing opportunities whenever you get it. After returning from abroad, he dabbled in mobile, rose in finance, then moved sharply into activism and politics. During June 12th crisis of 1990s, Tinubu stood with the Atiku movement, which was one of the few public platforms that openly resisted the military junta after the annulment of MKO Abiola election. That singular act engraved his name into the Nigerian democratic struggle, but more importantly, it granted him access to the elite club of credible opposition. But for Tinubu, activism was never a goal, it was the bridge to get whatever he wanted from the country's purse. After he was elected governor of Lagos State in 1999, Tinubu took charge of the commercial heart of Nigeria. While many governors saw office as 4-year tenure, Tinubu saw it as a 30-year project which he followed with brilliant moves. He restructured Lagos' internally generated revenue system, boosting it from a few hundred of millions of naira to over 7 billion monthly by the time he left office. He also empowered technocrats like Babatunde Fashola and built a team of loyalists who saw governance not as public service but as a project management for an empire. To sum it up, he created layers of political dependence and went from local government to tax system and contractors to party structures. So by the time his tenure ended in 2007, he had ensured that every cog in Lagos machine had Tinubu's fingerprint on them. And he didn't just leave the government, he left the governing system that didn't require him to be present for it to function. What followed after 2007 was nothing short of his master plan. He could have retired as a political hero, but instead, he evolved into something more dangerous, which is a political party founder. He founded the Action Group, the AC, which later became the Action Congress of Nigeria, the ACN. This was a party that began sweeping up the southwest states. And in 2015, he helped forge the coalition that brought about Muhammad Buhari to power, under the APC, a party he later founded after ACN. That victory wasn't about removing the ruling party, it was about showing the country that Tinubu could decide who becomes the president. Those who know Nigerian politics understand the truth that many of the people in power today owe their rise to Tinubu's support. They fear his withdrawal of that support even more than they fear the opposition party. And I must say, he plays a long game. Quiet, strategic and patient. While others campaign loudly, Tinubu works the structure underneath. That is how he remained powerful for decades. Now, answering the question, why is Tinubu the most feared politician in Nigeria? Let's break it down with this point. In the aspect of control, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not feared simply because he wins election. He is feared because he controls what election means. He controls how narratives are shaped, what stories reach the streets, and currently, he controls where the money flows. And that's why, for many, his power feels suffocating. It's not just a political position, but rather, it's his invisible infrastructure of dominance, which he's been able to establish for years. In the area of wealth, another reason why he's feared is because Tinubu is widely believed to be one of the richest politicians in Nigeria. But if you try to trace his legitimate source of income or wealth, you may quickly enter a web of conflicting reports, unanswered questions, and suspicious silence. Officially, he's never been listed in Nigerian foremost entrepreneurs, yet his political reach is consistently backed by immense financial muscle, which is seen through his campaigns, real estate, private jets, convoys, patronage networks, and institutional control. While Tinubu has never publicly admitted ownership, the former management director of the firm, Dapo Apara, blew the whistle in court, alleging that Tinubu was the silent owner and had laundered massive funds through the shell companies. But that particular case mysteriously lost momentum, just like many others in Nigeria when money meets power. During and after his tenure as Lagos State Governor, Tinubu was linked to a wide range of network of land allocation, construction firms, and contractors. Entire stretches of prime Lagos lands are allegedly owned or indirectly controlled by entities tied to him or his allies. Critics argue that the public wealth became private capital under the guise of urban development. Campaigns are expensive, but Tinubu's financial capacity has outpaced even his wealthier counterparts. Why? Because he didn't just fund his ambition from the start of his political career, he funded other survivors. From senatorial campaigns to gubernatorial election, many top Nigerian politicians owe their rise, and in some cases, their homes to Tinubu's pocket. These favors are not just free, they are investments with compounding returns in reality, silence, and future concession when he demands it from them. On the aspect of media, control of wealth brings influence, control of media brings perception, and Tinubu has both. Two of most prominent media outlets linked to Tinubu are TVC News. The other is the National Newspaper, one of Nigeria's most circulated dailies, consistently framing stories in favor of Tinubu and his political allies. These platforms are more than just news outlets, they serve as instruments of narrative power. This is because during the election, they amplify his success and mute his failures. During scandals, they divert attention and go silent. During political crisis, they act as damage control units, spinning stories to preserve his image. And we know that in a country where millions depend on legacy media for information, owning the message is as powerful as owning the mandate. These points go on, and in this video, I think we've stayed more than we intended. So since this evidence is laid out, now I want to know what you think about this whole thing in the comment section. To be part of the channel that isn't afraid to ask the real question, like, share, and subscribe. And don't miss out on our next upload. More is coming.